Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing good. So as sort of depressing and morbid as this video sounds and will be, I kind of wanted to come on here and talk about my absolute lowest points with health anxiety, not to scare anybody or to trigger anyone, but mostly to show that you can hit the absolute worst place in the world and still get better. So what I will say before you watch this video is it is probably going to be a little bit triggering. I'm going to talk about some scary things that my health anxiety caused. So if you're in a particularly bad place at the moment, maybe don't watch this video right now. But I also want to be just very raw and honest with my story and kind of try to explain exactly what I went through. So a lot of you will probably know already that I obviously have had really bad health anxiety, but I've been really good for over a year now. I know how to manage it, and yeah, but there was a time, there's been two really bad times, but the worst time was 18 months ago. And I was pregnant with my son. And my health anxiety was absolutely spiraling out of control. It didn't help that I had some genuinely real pregnancy complications. So for once in my life, I actually had real health issues to deal with, which, you know, were all temporary. They all went away as soon as I give birth. But just having a doctor come in and say, oh, you've got this wrong with you, you've got this condition, because I was already in such a bad mental state, I couldn't deal with it and I couldn't process that information. So in the last trimester, when I hit about 36 weeks, it was like, I don't know what happened, but my body just went insane. I was twitching from head to toe. I was having excruciating headaches. I was having tingling and numbness everywhere. The whole left side of my face was constantly tingling. I was having the worst myoclonic jerks of my life. I was constantly jerking. I'd be sat there, my arm would fly up, my neck would twist. It was all day long. And then I also developed something called a hemifacial spasm, which was later diagnosed through an MRI. It's not a twitch. It's essentially it's where a facial nerve and a vein are touching in your brain, and they shouldn't be touching. And because they touch, the nerve like malfunctions. So some people, their whole face will spasm. But for me, my eyebrow would raise up really slowly, get stuck for like a couple of seconds and then release. And it felt like somebody was having a string. And that really bothered me. And I couldn't sleep. And I couldn't sleep because of this hemifacial spasm, but I also couldn't sleep because of the jerks that were happening all through the night. My anxiety was absolutely horrific. And the insomnia, I don't talk about my insomnia to anybody. My loved ones know this. I can't talk about sleep because when I think about how bad that insomnia was, like, it was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I need my sleep, and to not be able to sleep whilst being heavily pregnant with all these symptoms was just utterly terrifying. I could not function. And I became more and more depressed. I was going to A&E, I'm not even kidding, most days. You know, I had so many tests done. I was convinced I had a brain tumour at this time. And I had a scan done and it was fine. I still wasn't convinced then. I convinced myself that I had bile duct cancer because my liver enzymes were everywhere, which was actually due to this pregnancy-related liver condition. But back then I was so insane that I was like, no, it's not that. It's bile duct cancer. And I really believed that I had it. I had a ultrasound on my liver And I read the report, and there were like a couple of things, just, it's like when you have health anxiety, we have loads of testing, and the people who write the reports, they write things. And I started like Googling every single thing, and I just was utterly convinced I had bile duct cancer, which has like a really bleak prognosis. So I was severely depressed. I was under the crisis team. I was under the perinatal team. They put me on benzodiazepines because I was so bad. I just could not function. I was hysterical every single day. I started to hallucinate, and that's when things got really bad because I wasn't sleeping. And I remember, like, I had music in my head constantly. And this went on for about 3 months, and it was terrifying. Music in my head all day long. It started with Peppa Pig, the theme tune. And then any word that anyone would say, my brain would match it to a song. So if somebody said the word single, let's just say, I would hear Beyonce Single Ladies, and it was blaring in my head constantly, and I couldn't cope with it. To hear music all day in your head, 24/7, was torture. And nobody really understood it, it was so strange, such a bizarre thing to say. And anyway, I woke up the one night, and of course I wasn't sleeping, and I walked into my bathroom, and this was the first time I heard voices. So I heard somebody say, she's wondering if she's going to sleep tonight. And then another voice laughed and said, no, she's not. And I heard those voices. Those voices were real to me, like it was intense. And then I heard voices for about a month. Just people having conversations. Nothing like scary or frightening. They weren't telling me to do anything. It wasn't like evil voices. It was just general conversation. And then I would have like loads of random words, like made up words pop up in my head. And I just knew that things were bad. And then I remember the one day my mum took me into the doctors for like the 1,000th time. And the GP was like, looked at my mum and said, I think she has psychosis. And I was still pregnant at this point. So I went down to the mental health unit, and they assessed me. And they were deciding whether I needed to be sectioned or not. But because I was so heavily pregnant, they didn't really want to. So I was under the crisis team again. And then after I had River, things just got worse and worse and worse. They wanted to section me in England. So I'm from Wales. They wanted to section me in England with River, my baby, but it would mean that my partner and my daughter Willow wouldn't be able to come with me. And I just remember thinking, I can't be alone with a newborn baby without my other child and my partner there. Like, I wanted us all to be together. So the decision was made to keep me home, but there was going to be, close contact kept. And then that's when I became suicidal and started to make plans for my life because I couldn't cope anymore. And it, like, when I look back now, sorry, but to think that I was going to leave my children because, the health anxiety was so bad. And I just didn't want to do it anymore. I just didn't want to continue. I couldn't. But thankfully, a police officer found me, and I was taken into hospital then. And I spent a while in hospital on and off. And hitting that place and being completely rock bottom was literally the best thing that ever happened to me. And I don't say that because I want all of you to hit rock bottom, because like you don't, you know, I don't want anyone to have to go through that. But for some reason, when I hit that place, I like, I don't know, just something came over me and I was like, enough, that's enough, like this has to stop. And it was just like I had this, I don't know, awakening, let's just say, where I was like, you know, I have to get better now. I have to get better, not just for me, but for my children, most importantly. And I just said to myself, I'm not doing it anymore. And it's just been an upwards journey since then, really. I've just got better and better and better. I know how to manage my health anxiety now. I know what my triggers are. I know, you know, I know how to just live with health anxiety and not let it control me. And it took a lot of hard work and a lot of patience, dedication, motivation, and lots of skills and tips and techniques, and a lot of reads and a lot of trials and errors. And it wasn't, you know, I had dips in between, don't get me wrong. It's not just being plain sailing. And I still have health anxiety, but I don't let it control me anymore. So, yeah, I guess I just wanted to share this story because, you know, it got bad for me. And I'm here, you know, on the other side of it. And I'm so grateful that I'm alive. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, that was emotional. I feel like that was like therapy. Yeah, I mean, I want to say I hope this video was helpful, but I just wanted to know that you can do it, basically. So yeah, I will see you guys on my next video. If you're interested in learning more about what it was that I did and how I got better, all of this is going to be on my Patreon. So yeah, you can sign up to have a membership on my Patreon for exclusive content. In the description of this video, there's various tiers, they all have different benefits. And yeah, you can work with me on a one-to-one basis. Live Q&As, you know, like one-to-one chats, all that stuff. Anyway, that's enough advertising of my stuff. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.